Right now on ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock, San Diego County first day in a less restrictive orange tier, and San Diegans are taking full advantage. What this means for local restaurants that have been struggling. Plus, San Diego prepares to welcome back conventions this summer. Why the largest conventions will face new restrictions. And our series, Positively San Diego, the East County Horse Ranch helping veterans, first responders, and their families.
ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
So they're really excited to get out and get together with people that they've only been on Zoom with.
People across San Diego County are enjoying dining out today as our county is now in the orange tier. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt. And restaurants can allow indoor dining at 50% capacity. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is joining us live from Escondido, where people have been out and about all day. Mimi?
Hi, Kimberly. Yeah, there's been quite a few people out today with restaurants increasing their indoor capacities. Right now, things are pretty calm right before the dinner rush, but earlier today during the lunch rush, there were quite a few people using this outdoor space and taking advantage of the nice weather.
So we can still fit all of our larger groups in here, and we have a table set up where we can move stuff around how we need it.
Under the orange tier, San Diego County's restaurants can now increase their indoor dining capacity to 50%, the most it's been in quite a while. Outdoor seating is also still available and a go-to for many.
People still want to eat outside because it's so nice.
Nick Hediotti and his brother Justin own H Brothers on Escondido's Grand Avenue. For them, the increase means about 25 people inside, a few extra tables. The brothers have been following the coronavirus restrictions even though it's been difficult. They made it through and now see more people dining out.
It's been really steady, really good. Almost back to where we were before this happened.
For smaller restaurants like mom and pop shop Sunnyside Kitchen, owned by husband and wife Bob and Kate Carpenter, the capacity increase is just about one extra table. But their loyal customers have kept them busy.
Every month we would worry if we're going to make it, but every month we've come through with the support of the community.
Kate says they followed the health guidelines and added more outdoor tables, something customers have appreciated, including this couple, James and Caroline, who even met at Sunnyside Kitchen back in 2019.
I love Bob and Kate.
Carolyn and I have been committed to going to those restaurants that we value in the community. And so we come here at least once a week.
The orange tier is welcome news for restaurant owners who suffered a great deal during the pandemic. And knowing California could be on the way to fully reopening in June makes things that much better.
We'll just be so happy to have open arms and open doors and all the seating we possibly can.
We have great customers, and they really got us through this.
And the city of Escondido tells me it has actually seen great success with outdoor dining during this pandemic. So they're currently discussing some options that would encourage and make it easier for restaurant owners to continue providing this. We're live in Escondido. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
The outdoor dining is certainly very popular now, something to consider. Thank you, Mimi, for that update. Starting today, the vaccine superstation at the Del Mar Fairgrounds will be closed for several days. Will also be closed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The closures are due to a lack of vaccine supply. All appointments at the site will be rescheduled automatically through the MyTurn online appointment system. Here is where the county's vaccination numbers stand right now. About 23% of San Diegans are fully vaccinated. That's more than 615,000 people. And we have vaccine resources, including where to make an appointment, on our website, 10news.com. Golf star Tiger Woods was going nearly twice the speed limit in a crash that left him with serious injuries. That's according to the LA County Sheriff today. The crash happened in February. The sheriff says Woods was going between 84 and 87 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone. Wood lost control and went down an embankment. Authorities don't believe that any sort of intoxication played a role.
My investigators, as they interviewed him at the scene and at the hospital, the questions were asked, and there was nothing to indicate any type of intoxication.
There are no plans to charge or cite Woods for speeding, as there were no witnesses. President Biden is trying to sell his $2 trillion infrastructure plan to the American people. The plan calls for more than $300 billion for mass transit, roads, airports, and bridges. It's also $400 billion to expand care and housing for the elderly and people with disabilities. The president suggests a corporate tax hike to pay for it. He has support from the corporate world, including Amazon's Jeff Bezos. Republicans claim that the bill is too costly and says it fails to address infrastructure needs.
President Biden is looking to shift to 100% renewable energy by 2035. But for people who spent their lives working in the fossil fuel industry, it's a cause for concern. We spoke with job analytics firm Burning Glass Technologies. We asked them if green energy will create enough jobs in its place.
We think there will be more jobs created in the green economy than there will be lost in the petrochemicals economy.
According to Burning Glass, the renewable energy industry employed about 410,000 people in 2019. Oil and gas had 515,000 employees in 2020. But as more opportunities for green energy surface, so will jobs in the field. Burning Glass believes that 1 million new jobs will open up in green energy over the next 5 years. And for energy jobs that don't require higher education, day-to-day work likely won't change very much. But for others, it may be tougher to transfer a skill set to green energy that's suited for oil and gas. That's something Matt Siegelman says Biden's plan will need to focus on to be successful.
We're going to need to be deliberate about helping Americans acquire the skills to fill all the jobs that will be created. The green economy requires different skills, and so we can't expect things just to work themselves out.
The good news is once people have these skill sets, Siegelman says there's room to make more money than in oil and gas. He also says energy jobs could become more stable since we'll need to constantly be harvesting renewable energy, whereas the gas and oil industry often sees booms and busts based on demand. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows Asian Americans have the highest numbers for long-term unemployment. That's classified as being jobless for 6 months or longer. Job experts say the numbers reflect the slow comeback of low-wage industries. Asian and Pacific Islanders with low education make up a large portion of those workers. Places like salons, retail, and restaurants have been hit hard by the pandemic. More states are resuming job search requirements for people getting unemployment benefits. North Carolina, South Carolina, Nevada, and Idaho all just made that announcement. That means people need to be either actively looking for work or improving their job skills in order to keep their benefits. Many states suspended that rule last year after the pandemic forced several businesses to close.
And now to our continued coverage of the murder trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Today, the lead investigator for the case against Chauvin in the death of George Floyd took the stand. Court television legal correspondent Chanley Painter is joining us from Minneapolis with his testimony.
The state has called the senior special agent of the newly formed Use of Force Investigation Unit of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension here in Minnesota to the stand this afternoon. Now, James Ryerson is the lead investigator for the case against Derek Chauvin in the death of George Floyd.
So my supervisor called me at approximately 9:45, Agent Phil, and informed me there had been an incident that occurred in the confines of Minneapolis involving Minneapolis Police Department. It was determined that myself, Agent Phil, and Agent Scott Mueller would all report to City Hall.
And so did you understand essentially why you, as BC agents, were being called to this incident?
We knew that some form of critical incident had occurred, but at that point we didn't have a huge amount of information.
And when you use the term critical incident in this context, what did it mean to you at that time?
An incident involving a police officer and potentially a civilian that could have caused harm.
During Ryerson's testimony, prosecutors showed a series of video clips from bystander video, body camera video, and surveillance video. And earlier today, an expert, Sergeant Jody Steiger, offered his opinion on the level of force Derek Chauvin was using on George Floyd May 25th, 2020. That's the latest from here in Minneapolis. I'm Chanley Painter with Court TV.
The Biden administration is looking at whether more children were separated at the border during the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy. A Department of Homeland Security official says they're reviewing 5,600 files. Under President Trump's policy, border officials separated at least 2,800 children from their parents. But officials later found that at least 1,700 more had been separated before the policy went into effect in May of 2018.
Checking the news feed, new research is raising concerns about the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. The EU's drug regulator says it's found a possible link between the vaccine and rare blood clots that have been happening. Even so, authorities do say the benefits still outweigh the risks. Meanwhile, the UK says it will offer an alternative for people under the age of 30. A new breakdown on the coronavirus front here in the U.S. Johns Hopkins says of the new cases last week, almost 45% came from just 5 states. They include New York, Michigan, Florida, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. The COVID variant that was first identified in the UK is now the most prevalent strain here in the U.S. Researchers say this particular strain is more easily transmitted between people. That's especially true for younger people.